I'm particularly interested in obtaining information on reported landing sites or physical trace evidence. I'm not looking for strange maneuvering lights in the sky, but it's a physical evidence I'm wishing to pursue. I've investigated cases where there has been residue left at the site. It's a global phenomenon. On one particular occasion, I had a sighting report form. I interviewed an OPP officer.
Where was that?
In Ontario. He was on duty and he had a sighting, and I interviewed him. I went up to the area and interviewed him, and he said that he'd fill out a sighting report form for me and he'd mail it to me. Approximately 6 months later, I didn't receive it. I happened to be going back up that way. I dropped in and met with him at his home, and he said, I did mail it to you. And I said, well, I'm afraid I didn't get it. He said, no, it was returned to me.
And what address it was sent to? This one?
No, I have...
Box.
Yeah, Post Office Box 54, yes, that's the Post Office box they use for all UFO literature.
And was this a sighting in Madoc?
No, this is going back 6 years ago.
Is that right? Now, who was the officer and whereabouts do you recall?
Oh, good heavens, I couldn't remember. I can dig it up, but it was up near... there used to be an air station, a weather bureau, up near Petawawa.
Oh, Petawawa.
Up near Petawawa, but he was one of the small detachments. But
Killaloo.
Killaloo, that's the area.
Killaloo,
yeah, right, that's it. I think they've now abandoned that as a weather station.
Yeah, I think they have.
Now, so when I broached it to him, he said, well, here it is here. He gave me the envelope, and he gave me the sighting report form. And I looked at the envelope, and I couldn't see why it wasn't delivered to my box. I took the envelope down to the postmaster in Agincourt and asked him to look at the post office address. It's correct, and he said, yes, there should be any problem. I said, well, it wasn't delivered to me. Well, he said, I'll look into it. Well,
And now what was stamped on the envelope for it to be returned?
Nothing. Oh, on the outside of the envelope was a OPP crest.
Yeah, there would be, but I mean, what...
Nothing to...
was there not, return to sender address unknown?
Nothing like that.
We just returned to the sender then?
Yes.
Was your name crossed out like they usually do on that?
No, if I recall, there was nothing to indicate.
Stamp on it and everything?
Yes, just... so anyways, he took the envelope, and through a course of events, I didn't get the envelope back, and he doesn't recall what happened to it. So that was just one incident.
And how about this telegram you sent? Now, who was that, through CN or CP or?
I believe it was through CP from Agincourt to, I phoned it in to Seguin, Texas now, to Walter Andrews Jr. He's a director of MUFON. And subsequently to that, I had talked to him personally and asked him if he'd received the telegram. He said no.
And how long ago was that?
Since I sent the telegram? I think it was just a little over a year ago. Now I've had trouble with my telephone. As a matter of fact, I did have an extension installed in the house, and before I had the extension installed in the house, I said, I've been having trouble with the telephone. I said, I don't know if it's being monitored or tapped or whatever you want to call it. I said, before I get the extension hooked up, I went down to the telephone people, service department downtown, and told them my problem. I felt that there was interference in the line. Call it what you will.
Did you hear what?
Well, you hear strange noises,
like what, clicks or hums?
Sometimes it's clicks, sometimes it's hums. So they said, well, they'd do a check on it. And the serviceman phoned up and he said, your line is clear at this moment. He said, we checked it, it's all clear. I said, could you tell me if there was anything, any monitoring device on the line? He said, no, I can't tell you that. He said, all I can tell you is that it's clear now. I said, fine, I'll get the extension. So I got the extension.
Have you had any problems since?
Well, since, but not lately. I feel in the last 3 months. It seems to be.
What, you haven't heard any noises at all on your phone that would indicate to you that it was being monitored or bugged or whatever you want to call it?
Well, as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, I received a call. I was talking to a lady in Hamilton or Burlington, and she commented. She said, "What's that noise?" And I said, "Well, don't. It's nothing. There's no consequence." I said, "It happens all the time." And just at that particular time, we had happened to be discussing. I had given a talk in the Hamilton area, and she mentioned something about. Was this the trouble in the line that you mentioned? And I said, possibly. I said, I call it the loyal opposition. I said, I don't know who it is.
Well, did you hear it and she heard it, or just one party? Now that happens.
Oh no, she heard it. I heard it at the same time, but I didn't comment on it. But she did.
And how long ago was this?
That was within the last few months.
Now, you're mentioning being monitored through physical and electronic. Now, the phone bugs, etc., would be the electronic. Now, monitored physically, how would you describe
Well,
that?
on one occasion, I made an appointment to meet with a chap. He was to pick me up in front of my house in Agincourt. And I wasn't too sure how long it would take him. I thought it would only take 5 minutes. So it was a nice day, and I got my briefcase and went outside to wait on the front sidewalk. And I just got outside, and the car pulled up down the street from me, and 3 fellows were in it. And they sat there, and I'm standing there watching them. Well, I said, either somebody's been monitoring my line, or they've got some business there.
And this is in your Agincourt address?
This is in front of my home, actually. Yeah. So I waited and waited, and nothing happened. Well, I said, I'm going to wait them and see what happens. So finally, one of the chaps got out of the car and went up to one of the doors, to a house. I couldn't see what he was doing, but I thought, gee, that's probably a ploy. They're just indicating that they're going to get some business at the house. I said, I'll just pursue a little further. Went in the house and got the binoculars. And they were all parked maybe twice the distance that flagpole up, the bare pole at the end of the driveway there.
Oh.
I could see them.
About 80 feet.
Yes, I could see them, but I just wanted to instigate some action, so I got the binoculars and looked at them. And in the meantime, this fellow came back down. So there's 3 of them in the car, and I'm looking at them with the binoculars, and they're looking right at me.
Have they got binoculars?
No. I couldn't see any binoculars. They may have had them in the car, but... So then I said, they're not doing anything. I'll pursue a little further. I'll walk down too. And I started to walk down the street, and they just started up the car and turned in the driveway and went the other way.
Did you get a license number, make and model?
No, I don't think that's important.
3 men.
3 men. Now, then my friend came and picked me up, and we went to meet another chap, and I'm very sure they were following us.
The same car?
Yes.
And how long ago was this?
This was last fall.
Did you mention this to your friend? That you figured you were being followed and so?
No, I just mentioned to him that my phone may be tapped.
Is he a member of your group?
He's a member of the Toronto organization, yes.
And is there any other physical following or surveillance or anything?
Well,
That you suspected or think?
yes, a number of years ago, I feel I was followed going up to Peterborough, and I felt so confident that I was being followed that I speeded up to about 80 miles an hour, and I didn't go any faster than the car I had. But he had an older car, and he could move it too. But anyways, I went up and made a sharp turn and turned off into a campsite. And then I waited about half an hour.
You took off?
Took off.
On your way to Peterborough. also diversion, delaying tactics, or on delivery of mail. Now, diversion is what? Like the telegram or the mail, or and the
Well, I don't know how you could word it. If your mail is being diverted, like as an example, that letter from the OPP officer, the sighting report form. I eventually got the sighting report form, but it was
by hand.
Yeah.
And delaying tactics or on delivery of mail, does that all mean the one thing?
Well, I've had, on occasion I felt that the mail is unduly delayed, but you can't.
It's hard to say, I guess, now.
It's the way the situation is today. I mean, if they're going to...
Now, when the 3 RCMP officers did visit you, how long ago was that, and what was that about?
Well, to me it was either foolish or a ploy. Three officers came to the door, and they asked for me. My son called me, and they said, we were investigating a drug case. And I said, well, you come to the wrong house. Well, he said, we have reason to connect your house with a case in Thunder Bay or North Bay, I can't remember. And I said, well, what's the connection? Well, he said, we found your telephone number written on the wall. Well, I thought, for Christ's sake, I came all the way down here, sent 3 officers because my telephone number is written on the wall. My telephone number is spread across Canada.
We're in Thunder Bay.
Anywhere.
Written on the wall in Thunder Bay.
Well, so they said, yeah. And I said, well, to me that would be worthwhile pursuing, because, you know, anybody that's interested in UFOs, I've advertised my telephone number in the papers. Not recently, but in years past. And I've given my telephone number out to, you know, numerous people.
And how long ago is this that this happened?
Oh, approximately 2 years ago.
Well, can you be, that would be in 76, when the summer, 76, the winter, or do you know the month? Can you remember?
No, I couldn't.
It was in a phone book, is that what they...
No, they said it was written on the wall in a house. Well, they didn't say a house, they just said...
Written on a wall.
Written on the wall, so...
Well, do you think they've had anything to do with your present employment?
Well, it seemed very foolish to me to send 3 officers down just to talk about a phone number, you know. I mean, they could have got the information on the phone. Phone me up and asked me for it. And as a matter of fact, they did phone after, because I thought they were kind of surly. Their attitude, it didn't seem to be right, and...
You wouldn't remember the name?
Oh, no. And the one officer phoned back and apologized. He said, didn't mean to, it's a small matter.
Now, what you would like us to do, I gathered by the letter, and we are doing, because we've got, I don't know how many other, not complaints, but submissions from people regarding UFOs. And it is a separate study we're doing. So, don't feel offended if we don't write you within the next 2 weeks, because we're putting it all together as a package, and then we're going to check and see what involvement, if any, the RCMP does have, or any other police departments, and what their policy is regarding the reporting of them, which I imagine you're interested in. Are you interested in, well, what are you interested in? If say, the RCMP do have a policy on UFOs, the sighting of and the reporting of, I gather here you want to know what framework it falls in national security.
Yes, if I'm excuse me, if I'm delving into some area that is potentially dangerous, well, everything's potentially dangerous, and that's pretty broad. I just don't believe that that there should be any restrictions on people doing UFO research.
Well, do you think that some person, like in government, is restricting?
Oh, yeah.
Or is concerned that somebody else is perhaps involved in the reporting of and the information regarding UFO?
Oh, yes. Anybody that's been active in the field has come across areas where there's no information available, or it's distorted, or it's not available. You know, it's as an example, National Research Council. They have information that I think that they are withholding. The RCMP certainly must be, well, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure, I know they are withholding information regarding UFOs. But why or who?
How about the Army?
Well, the same, you know. Yeah. I've gone to alleged or reported landing sites where UFOs have made, or there have been indications of unusual marks in the ground, and I've talked to the local inhabitants, and they said the Army's been down. And the troops came out and spread around through the country, and that's what we're looking for. Well, they don't know. You try to find out which branch of the Army or who's authorized it. Nobody knows.
Just that the military were there.
Yes, yes.
How about RCMP?
Well, I had an occasion to speak to a fellow in Saskatchewan, a very spectacular case as far as he was concerned, and the RCMP told him it's the same thing. And he mentioned this on the air.
Who was that? Now that's what we'd like to get, Henry, some names of, you know.
Well, his name is Edwin Fuhr.
F-U-R-E-R?
F-E-U-R, yes, Fuhr, yes.
And when was that?
Oh, good heavens.
Well, it was a big sighting or something.
Yes, it was it was well publicized. As a matter of fact, I was in the CFTO studios in the morning, at a.m., and he was on the station in Regina. Now, I could see him, but he couldn't see me, but we could talk, communicate back and forth. And I said, did any government agency appear to be interested? Well, the RCMP were there, and I said, what did they say? And they said, they told me that's him.
Now, when was that you appeared on this CFTO program? About how long ago?
Oh, I'd say 4 years ago. I could find out the date.
Oh, well, if you want to correspond further with us, you know, in my name, you know, send me any, you know, other information with times and dates and names, because that's what we, you know, we need so we can interview people and perhaps get the name of an officer or somebody in the military that actually did say something, you know, to a person that, you know, don't tell them anything or something like that, or it's confidential or it's security or something like that.
Yes, I think I don't know what the government's policy is. I've spoken to, well, an example, I was on a program on Education TV here in Toronto. Dr. Alan Hynek, a noted astronomer from the United States, was a guest, myself, and Dr. Peter Millman from, I think he just retired from the National Research Council at the Planetary Sciences Division, which is the depository for UFO reports. And we were discussing the subject. And I said, well, Dr. Millman, I said, could you tell me what the policy is for the Canadian government? Because everybody you talk to, you get a different story. And he said, well, there's no threat to the defense of Canada. I said, fine. That's the only word I can get. Now
but they do admit, the NRC do admit having files and documents.
The RCMP?
No, the National Research Council.
Well, they have, yes, they have files, and files that are accessible to researchers, but the files are no means complete, because I know of cases that have taken place. As a matter of fact, I tested it one time. I took some information down, and this was in 1969. I took some information down regarding a sighting that took place near Pembroke, Ontario. I went down to check the files to see if they had any information. They had no information available on this particular case, and then they said we'd be interested in getting your notes, my field notes. I said, fine. They copied them. A year later, I went back and asked for that particular file, and they said, you have it. But then I talked to the girl who got the information, the original information from me, and they had another file that they took this data from me. So they have files and files and files. So I feel quite sure that NRC has got certain files that they're allowing the public to see and certain files they're not. Same with the RCMP.
Well, we, of course, are only investigating the RCMP,
Yeah,
so if we
right.
find there's no involvement there, that is the end of our duty.
Yes,
You know?
yes. Well, as an example, the RCMP investigated an incident that took place in Falcon Lake, Manitoba.
I know where that is. That's in the west or east end of
Just
Manitoba.
near the
Kenora, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Well, the whole government was involved in it. The RCAF, the RCMP, the Department of Health, because there was physical damage done to the individual concerned. But there is no information of what the RCMP's findings were on that particular case.
Well, is there a file on it at the National Research Council? Or do you know?
Well, I know that the information that they have is what the government would not release any information on that particular case. It was brought up by Ed Schreier, who at that time was MP for the area. He brought it up in the House of Commons.
And how long ago was that?
That incident took place in '67. Now, the military were involved in it because Stephen Michalak, the fellow who was the observer of this UFO, he took a photograph of all these individuals, the RCMP, the RCAF.
Oh, what if the scene?
Yes, well, they were investigating the case. So all these people have investigated the case, but where are the files?
Well, I can't think of anything else, Henry. Can you? I'm just going over your letter again there.
No, basically I feel that the government is actively pursuing a program of monitoring UFO investigators, if you will. Whether they publicly admit it or acknowledge it one way or the other, I don't know. And unless there's some statement that it is a question of national security, apparently it's not a question of national defense because they've publicly stated that.
But you feel the government, some agency in government, has been monitoring some or all UFO or UFO research.
Branch of the government, what their policy is, who knows?
You see, we are investigating the RCMP only, so...
Yeah. Well, it's a well-known fact that they are involved in compiling information on UFO incidents. Not necessarily, well, they must be if...
so if they're at the scene of one.
Yes. I was thinking of trying to qualify this where they are the policing agency like in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, where that's their duty.
And to be an occurrence, they would be investigated.
Yes, that's right.
Where down here it'd be different.
Yeah.
The OPP here and the Quebec Provincial Police in Quebec.
But if my mail is being diverted, shall we say, and the telephones are being monitored, which agency is doing this, you see? So to me, personally, you asked me all these particular dates. I don't know the particular dates and the individuals involved. I don't feel I should waste my time in that because that's...
it's the overall picture you're looking at.
Yes.
If they do it to somebody else, they might do it to you.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, like I said earlier, I have the file. That's one of my assignments. The file on every person that is written in. There have been several about UFOs, and some of them are a little upset because we don't write them right back right away. In fact, there's one I interviewed a month ago, and now I'm just getting to you, another person that is concerned about it. So when I get them all together, I'm going to put them in as a package report, and I think that's the easiest thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Instead of each individual report going in at a certain time, I can get everybody's feelings on it, and I might find a pattern of what is happening.
Yes. Well, it's taking place in the States too. I understand that.
I was going to ask you that. What information you have regarding the United States?
Well,
military or police?
Well, it's the same situation. It's either the FBI and the CIA. As a matter of fact, one group has taken the CIA to court because they are not releasing the information.
And what group's that in the States? I think I've heard this before, but...
Yeah. GSW, Ground Saucer Watch, they call it. It's actually, it was initiated by one individual, and I think he's... it's not a class action, but it's a mutual action by the group, GSW, and the individual himself. Because they've... Well, you can read reports, and I think the CIA has been involved in it. They've acknowledged that, involved in UFO activity in the United States. And commenting on UFO groups as possibly having subversive elements, who knows what that is.
That's a word commonly used.
Or potentially dangerous to the security of the country. Well, as far as my loyalty to the country, I don't think there should be any question of it. My father was a First World War veteran. My brother was in the Navy. The other brother was in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. My sister served under this man called Intrepid down in New York.
Oh, yeah.
So... Stevenson, yes.
Very good book.
Yes, I've... my sister's been urging me to read it. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good book. Well, truth is rather strange than fiction anyways when you do read it.
Yeah.
Because right now I have nothing to do with the OPP at all. I don't even go into the office. My paycheck is sent home. I don't have to report to anybody in the OPP. And in fact, we've just lost contact with them, we were told.
Yeah.
Been on this job. Well, it's altogether different. Well, you can't have two bosses.
Yes. I'm concerned with also with freedom of information from government sources.
Well, there is an act out now. I don't know.
I know. I met Jed Baldwin, the MP, who's pushing that. And the reason I brought it up was number 2 years, 75. Farmer in Brant County.
Over on Brantford.
Yes, just south of Brantford. He was in Mount Pleasant. Joe Border, the plattle grower. Now, he observed something on a Sunday afternoon. He doesn't know what it was, but at that time he thought it was a stainless steel irrigation truck or a tank that the neighbor had drawn up. On Tuesday...
It was on the ground.
Oh yes, it was just sitting in one of the fields. He saw it out the window on a Sunday. And he was curious, but he didn't give too much attention to it. And on a Tuesday he was cultivating that particular field, and he came across an area of damaged, dehydrated tobacco plant. And he thought that was curious, and he said, well, damn it, he said, that's where that tank was. This is caused by one of those UFOs. This is how he tied it together because of the circular impression around the tobacco plants. Well, he called his brother, who's the Crown Attorney for the area, and said, if you saw a UFO, what would you do? He said, I'd call the police. He said, you call the police and get them out here. So he called the OPP, and the OPP came out.
When was this?
75. 75. Time goes so fast, and all these cases are just going through my mind. But they found some residue in the within the patch of dehydrated tobacco plants. And it was taken by the OPP and turned over to the forensic science. And I know the file numbers. I've seen the report at a distance. I've been down there. I started right from the bottom. I went to my MP, talked to the chief of the lab, talked to the director, the Attorney General's Department.
Doug Lucas, eh? Doug Lucas.
Yes, that's right. And I still haven't been able to get that report. They're just not making it available. So my last try, I've been poking at them for years and years, hoping to get this report released. My last try was down at this Freedom of Information conference they had down at the St. Lawrence Center. They had Dr. Stewart from the PM's office. He was there, so I brought this subject to the brigade. So now I'm going to write him a letter see if he'll hold the string. But this is what happens, you see, for some reason, now, the officially or unofficially, they told the farmer that it was lubricating oil. Well, he said, I didn't drive the tractor over the area. And he said, if I did, the cultivator would have turned it over. It wouldn't have been sitting.
Well, he'd seen something earlier.
Oh, yeah. They told him it was lubricating oil. They told the reporter for the Brantford paper that it was consistent with lightning damage. And they won't release the report.
Yeah, no, I don't know how. It's not called the Freedom of Information Act. I know what you're talking about, but I don't think that's the real name of it. But is it law right now? Do you know?
The one in Ottawa or the one in?
No, the one in Ottawa.
No, they're not law at all.
Well, there's something in the post office about it. I know you can read about it. What?
Oh no, that you can go. That's the law on individual privacy. You can
see your own files.
See your own files. That's right. Yes. Yes.
Well, is that not included in this new Freedom of Information?
No, the Freedom of Information Act is just typically it's analysis of this substance should be released to the public as far as I'm concerned. This is in provincial government.
Oh, it's provincial legislation.
Well, they're both working on it, you see. But Jed Baldwin, the MP from in Ottawa, he's been working at it for years. There's just too much document with each individual agency or department, and just doesn't want to release for whatever reason.
Okay, then.
So basically, that's it.
Okay. Well, I've got enough now, I think, to put it with the other stuff I've got, and sometime we'll get back to you. Believe me, it won't be in the next 2 weeks.
No, I realize, and I assume that if I'm correct in assuming that my mail is being monitored and my telephone is being monitored or tapped or kept under surveillance, then if it is some government agency, then that government agency knows what I'm doing and talking to you because, you see.
Well, that's good. Maybe I better run you over to your car.
No.
Okay.